The sun rose over the city as employees hurried into the towering headquarters of Bright Horizon Solutions. Some walked with coffee in one hand and phones in the other. Others looked tired before the workday had even begun. Inside the building, people barely greeted one another. "Morning," one employee mumbled. Another simply nodded without looking up. The atmosphere was cold. People were focused on deadlines, promotions, and protecting their own positions. Then the elevator doors opened. Michael Hayes stepped out carrying a small notebook and a warm smile. "Good morning, everyone." Some smiled back. Others ignored him. He wasn't offended. Instead, he continued walking, greeting every person he passed. At the reception desk sat Emma Collins, who looked exhausted. "Good morning, Emma." She forced a smile. "Morning, Michael." He noticed the sadness in her eyes. "Everything okay?" She hesitated. "My son has been sick all week. I barely slept." "I'm sorry to hear that." He reached into his bag and handed her a small card. "What's this?" "It's a Bible verse that has helped me many times." She read it quietly. "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. Tears filled her eyes. "Thank you. You don't have to carry everything alone." She smiled for the first time that morning. Later that morning, inside the conference room, Department Manager Rachel Brooks slammed a report onto the table. "This project is behind schedule." Across from her sat Kevin Ross. "It isn't my department's fault." She crossed her arms. "It became our problem when your team missed the deadline." "We didn't miss it." "You absolutely did." The room grew tense. Several employees avoided eye contact. Michael quietly listened. When everyone finished arguing, he finally spoke. "I think we're forgetting something." Rachel sighed. "What now?" "We all want the same thing." Kevin frowned. "It doesn't look that way."
He smiled gently. "It can." Silence filled the room. "What if we stop asking who's responsible and start asking how we can solve this together?" Nobody answered immediately. Finally, Rachel leaned back. "I suppose that would save time." Kevin nodded. "I can assign 2 people to help your department." She looked surprised. "You'd do that?" "Yes." Michael smiled. "That's teamwork." A week later, a young employee named Sophia Turner arrived for her first day. She looked nervous. Michael greeted her. "Welcome." "I'm afraid I'll make mistakes." "You probably will." She looked worried. He laughed softly. "So did I." She smiled. "Nobody expects perfection." "What do they expect?" "Kindness, honesty, a willingness to learn." She relaxed. "Thank you." Throughout the day, he introduced her to everyone. Whenever she struggled, he patiently explained every task. At lunch, she asked, "Why do you help everyone?" He thought for a moment. He smiled. "Because love isn't something we give only when it's deserved." Months later, the company's president announced shocking news. "Our largest client has canceled its contract." The room became silent. Without the contract, layoffs seemed inevitable. Fear spread through the office. Employees whispered, "What happens now? Will we lose our jobs?" Later that afternoon, Rachel walked into Michael's office. "I don't know what to tell my team." "We'll face it together." "You sound calm." "I trust that doing what's right is never wasted." She sighed. "I wish I had your faith," he smiled. "You can." The following morning, Michael gathered everyone. "I know we're afraid." Heads nodded. "But fear divides people." Nobody spoke. Love brings people together. Kevin raised his hand. "What do we do?" We help one another. Sophia smiled. I'll stay late every evening if needed. Rachel added, my department can assist customer service. Emma said, I'll organize volunteers. Soon everyone began offering ideas. For the first time, departments worked together instead of competing. People stayed late, shared resources, helped one another finish assignments. Nobody complained, they simply cared. Weeks later, the company had completed more projects than ever before. Word spread throughout the industry about the unusual workplace where employees genuinely cared for one another. New clients arrived, business grew rapidly, the company recovered completely. The president gathered everyone. I've worked in business for 30 years. He looked around the room. I've never seen a culture like this. Everyone applauded. He continued, this happened because one person believed kindness was stronger than competition. Michael quietly lowered his head. The president smiled. Would you come forward? He walked to the stage. This award is for outstanding leadership. Everyone stood. The applause lasted several minutes. Michael looked around the room. I don't deserve this alone. The applause stopped. Every one of you chose kindness. He smiled warmly. We discovered something together. He paused. Success isn't measured by profits. The room was silent. It's measured by how we treat people. He looked toward Emma. You encouraged others. She smiled. He looked at Kevin. You chose cooperation over pride. He turned toward Rachel. You became a leader who served instead of commanded. Finally, he looked at everyone. If we continue to love one another, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. The audience stood once again. Some were wiping away tears. Others embraced one another.